Ethan Richards had always been told he was a genius. From a young age, his parents, teachers, and peers constantly praised him for his intelligence. He could solve complex math problems effortlessly, write essays that impressed even the most seasoned professors, and grasp abstract concepts faster than anyone else in his class. To him, success had always seemed like an inevitable outcome of his innate brilliance. Why work harder when you could simply rely on your intelligence to carry you through? Raised in a modest but loving family, Ethan never wanted for much. His parents were hardworking, though not wealthy, and they placed great emphasis on education, pushing Ethan to do well in school. They believed that a good education would lead to a good job, and ultimately, a comfortable life. For Ethan, this belief translated into doing just enough to get by. He figured that if he aced his exams and performed well academically, he would be fine. As Ethan grew older, his genius was both a blessing and a curse. It allowed him to breeze through school with little effort, but it also cultivated a sense of entitlement. He began to believe that his natural abilities were enough to secure success. He looked down on his peers who worked tirelessly, pouring hours into their assignments and studies, thinking that they lacked the brilliance he had. He couldn't understand why anyone would spend so much time and energy on something that came so easily to him. By the time he reached college, Ethan had earned a reputation as the smart kid. He skipped many of his classes, assuming he could still pass exams with minimal studying. And, for the most part, he was right. He graduated with top honors, securing a prestigious internship at a well-known tech company. His family was proud, of course, and so was Ethan. He was on his way to living the life he had always envisioned, one where success came easily, and where his intellect was all that was needed to climb to the top. But reality had other plans. Ethan quickly realized that the workplace was different from the classroom. At his internship, he was surrounded by people who worked just as hard, if not harder, than he did. They had their own talents, but they also knew how to put in the work, something Ethan had never fully grasped. Despite his natural ability, he found himself struggling to keep up. His coworkers were more organized, more disciplined, and better at managing their time. They were also far more willing to learn from their mistakes, whereas Ethan had always coasted on his intelligence and avoided the hard lessons that came with failure. At first, Ethan blamed his struggles on the company, the environment, or even his teammates. But as the months passed, it became increasingly clear that the issue was not external, it was internal. Ethan was forced to confront the painful truth: his genius alone was not enough to guarantee success. He had overlooked the importance of hard work, perseverance, and personal growth. The first wake-up call came when Ethan was given a critical project at work. It was his chance to prove himself, to show that he could not only do the job but excel at it. Confident that he could complete the project with minimal effort, he initially approached it with the same arrogance he had carried throughout his academic career. He put in just enough effort to get by, relying on his intellect to figure things out as he went. But when the project was due, the results were disastrous. The solution he had come up with was incomplete and riddled with errors. His boss was disappointed, and Ethan was humiliated. For the first time in his life, he realized that his intelligence was not enough to compensate for his lack of effort and attention to detail. He had ignored the most important lesson of all: success doesn't come just from being smart, it comes from hard work, continuous learning, and the willingness to admit when you're wrong. At that moment, Ethan faced a crossroads. He could continue to rely on his talent and hope that things would eventually work out, or he could make a change. Ethan chose the latter. He knew that if he didn't transform his approach to work and life, he would never reach his full potential. The journey that followed was neither easy nor quick. Ethan began by acknowledging his weaknesses. He admitted that his lack of discipline had held him back. He started attending every meeting and taking detailed notes. He made a habit of asking questions and seeking feedback from his colleagues, learning from their experiences. He took responsibility for his mistakes, understanding that failure was an opportunity to grow. As part of his self-improvement, Ethan also sought out mentors, people who had achieved the success he wanted but who had done so through hard work and perseverance. These mentors taught him invaluable lessons about personal responsibility, financial discipline, and the importance of consistency. They encouraged him to not only focus on his job but also on developing a deeper understanding of the industry, the company, and his own goals. One of the most important lessons Ethan learned was about managing his finances. Throughout his life, Ethan had never thought much about money. He'd always had enough to live comfortably and had assumed that his high-paying job would keep him financially secure. But as he grew older and began to take responsibility for his career, he realized that financial security wasn't just about earning money, it was about managing it wisely. His mentors introduced him to concepts like budgeting, saving, and investing. They showed him how to make his money work for him instead of relying on his salary alone. Ethan's attitude toward money began to change. He realized that just as he had been neglectful of his work ethic, he had also been neglectful of his finances. He had spent frivolously, lived paycheck to paycheck, and had never considered long-term financial planning. But now, armed with the knowledge he had gained, he set out to change that. He started saving aggressively, created a budget, and began investing in his future. The more Ethan worked on improving his finances, the more he understood the connection between money and personal growth. He discovered that financial independence wasn't just about having enough to retire comfortably, it was about freeing himself from the limitations of living paycheck to paycheck. It was about having the freedom to pursue his dreams without the constant worry of bills piling up. Despite his new approach, Ethan still faced challenges. There were times when he wanted to give up, when the weight of his mistakes seemed too much to bear. But every time he hit a roadblock, he remembered the lessons he had learned from his mentors. He knew that failure was not the end, it was simply part of the process of growth. He learned to push through setbacks, to keep going even when things got tough. After several years of hard work and personal growth, Ethan finally reached a place where he felt truly successful. He had developed a reputation for being reliable, disciplined, and capable, qualities that no amount of natural talent could replace. His work ethic had earned him the respect of his peers, and his financial discipline had allowed him to live comfortably and confidently. Ethan's journey wasn't about achieving perfection, it was about learning from his mistakes and continuously striving to be better. He had come to realize that true success didn't come from intelligence alone. It came from hard work, perseverance, and the willingness to learn. In the end, Ethan learned that intelligence is a gift, but it's not enough on its own. Success requires much more than raw talent, it requires discipline, responsibility, and a commitment to growth. It requires understanding the value of hard work and learning from your failures. Looking back, Ethan was grateful for the struggles he had faced. They had taught him the most important lessons of his life. And as he looked ahead to the future, he knew that he had finally learned what it really took to succeed. If you're someone who has relied on your natural abilities, like Ethan, and you find yourself struggling to move forward, remember this: success is not guaranteed just by being smart. It's about the willingness to learn, to grow, and to put in the hard work every single day. You have the potential to succeed, but only if you're willing to embrace the lessons that life throws your way. Don't wait until it's too late to learn what truly makes you successful.